Welcome to the SPTC podcast. I'm your host, Simon Phillips. This is my co host, The Fan. Those of you who are not watching the video, I have a very powerful fan sat next to me here. He's in the shot as well. Um, as you will know, it's very hot again here in the UK today, and I need this guy directly pointed on me. If there is any issues with the audio, there shouldn't be. I'm 99% sure it'll be fine because I've recorded with a fan before, and it was fine. If there is any slight issues, I do apologize for that. But there's no way I can sit here without that guy on me. It's very hot, very warm here in the UK. Before I get into the show, some housekeeping for you. Obviously, some people will be watching this on YouTube now, as well as on my website. So those of you who are watching this on YouTube, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'm really trying to grow the YouTube now alongside the website, just to build the whole channel name up, and offer more content in other areas. I also have the Instagram account, which is popping off. I'm keeping that as active as possible, as well as the TikTok account now as well. Didn't really want to get TikTok, but it's 2026 and apparently that's where it's at. So yeah, head to those. All you need to do is search for Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea, and you will find me on any channel you go for: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or my ex account. You will know that one anyway. So yeah, just search that and you'll find me. Please follow all of those accounts and subscribe to the YouTube. It would be a massive help just to keep growing this whole channel as one, rather than just on the website. And those of you watching on YouTube who don't know, I have a website, sptc.news. Please head there now. That's where you'll find all of my content, all of my transfer exclusives, no holds barred, everything, opinions, the lot. I do 5 articles every single day, apart from a weekend. I like to have a weekend off now and then. But yeah, that's where you'll get all the transfer news and like literally the whole shebang. It won't just be little snippets like you'll be hearing on here. So yeah, please do head and subscribe there if you are able to. I appreciate not everyone can. Cool. Now that's all out of the way. Funny story for you guys before I head on. I just recorded 20 minutes of a show, this show, and I had to stop it and delete it, which was so annoying. But I realized that I spent the whole show talking about how Romeo Lavia was going to be joining Manchester United. Spot the deliberate mistake there. It's not Romeo Lavia, Simon. It is Andrey Santos. And I didn't realize until quite far into the show, which was fantastic. But here we are. We're here and we're going again. And I will make sure I say the right name this time. We'll start there. Supposed to start with Xabi Alonso, but we'll start with the Santos news and then dip back to the Alonso stuff. And then after that, I've got to speak on Jesse Derry a little bit, his move to Sporting, some info and some comment on Giovanni Quenda, who was confirmed by Chelsea as a new signing yesterday. And then at the end of the show, I will be chatting a little bit about England versus Norway this weekend in the World Cup quarterfinals. Obviously, I'm English and I like to chat a little bit about the England games as well. But I'm pre-warning you that will be the last bit in this show. So those of you here just for the Chelsea content, you can feel free to duck out if you don't want to hear my opinion on England versus Norway. Completely understand it. I know most of you are here for the transfer stuff. So with that said, let's try and go back to the news on Santos. We'll begin there, and then we'll go from there. Santos to Manchester United is on. I believe the fee will be around about 50 million. It has the ability to reach about 55 million with add-ons, and then Chelsea also have the 10% sell-on fee. So if and when United sell him, Chelsea will get a nice little chunk of cash of that. So yeah, 50 million for Santos. I didn't want to speak too much on opinion on this one because I've written an article today which will be out very soon, around about 1 p.m. today, Thursday in the UK. And that covers everything. So please head back there to sptc.news to hear my full opinion on the Santos pending sale to Manchester United. But briefly, in a nutshell, I'm not upset about it really. He's a player who's a fringe player. He's not going to start for Chelsea next season. He's squad depth, really good squad depth. He's a good player. He has a lot of limitations. He's nowhere near elite. I don't think he will ever get to being elite either. So whilst I understand, selling into a rival and selling him for 50 million in this transfer market, where Premier League midfielders are just going for stupid money, I understand where all this is coming from, and people questioning Chelsea just buying to sell and to make profit. I get it, but I don't think this is one of those situations. Chelsea have to sell players. We're not in Europe next season. We need a smaller squad for Alonso to work with, and we need to make sales if we want to buy the players that we need in certain positions. So, you know, I know that we haven't made the right sales yet. We've still got a lot of the deadwood here at the moment who need to go, and hopefully they still do. But selling Santos, I'm not bothered with. It's not really an issue for me. I understand it. 50 million for Santos when we paid 18 million for him in 2023. It's not bad business, really. And yeah, there's a lot of things that do annoy me about how this club operates, and I speak about it every day, basically. But this isn't one of them. I think we should pick and choose our fights. But although I do understand what people are saying about this, who don't like it and who have vented about it, for me, my opinion, not one that I'm going to lose my head over. Anyway, Santos heading to United. It looks like I spoke last week about potential replacements for Santos. Now, this is exclusive info, by the way. I've not put this anywhere. This is the first time you'll hear it or see it. Basically, Alex Scott, the information about Alex Scott coming into Chelsea. Initially, I believe that Scott was going to be a replacement for Santos. But there's a chance now that Chelsea might not replace Santos because they've got a Sugo as well. And we've also got Lavia still. I know both of them were injured all last season. There is the cover there. If Enzo Fernandez goes, at the moment, I'm hearing that Chelsea are thinking that Alex Scott could come in from Bournemouth and do the job of replacing him. I know that might annoy a few people, so don't run off with this info. It's not definite yet. It's just things that they're thinking about. Adam Wharton is the player who they have initially earmarked as the replacement for Fernandez if Fernandez goes. But at the moment, I was told this morning from a top source that Chelsea feel that they're going to be priced out of a move for Wharton. They've obviously asked for what it would take for him to be sold this summer, and it's silly money, really. And the belief from our source is that Wharton might even be forced to stay at Palace until next summer due to the price tag that's over his head. I don't know whether the player needs to do anything on his side. Maybe if he comes out and really pushes for a move, then it could still happen. But at the moment, Chelsea are looking at Wharton and they're thinking that he's just too expensive. So Alex Scott, Chelsea have been speaking to his camp since February, and the club feel that this is the summer to get him. Bournemouth are likely to have to sell more players next summer as well. So, this might be a better time to try and get him. And I understand that Chelsea will try to sign Scott this summer. That doesn't mean they will sign him. The key word there is will try to sign him. That will be obviously an offer, and to see if they can agree a fee with Bournemouth for him. The issue is Scott has loads of other clubs interested in him as well. So if they end up coming in, then that could create more problems. But Chelsea will try for Scott, and that will be whether Enzo goes or not. But if Enzo does go, Scott could be the guy who comes in and just covers the Enzo role and the Santos role as well, because he is the complete midfielder who can play in a lot of positions, and Chelsea have other areas that they want to spend on. I'm not saying that's definite. Okay, I'm not saying that that if Enzo goes as well, that they won't buy a second centre midfielder, because as you know, I've reported many times, they've been looking at 2 midfielders, so that still might happen. But the thinking at this time is that if they can get Alex Scott in, they might not have to sign Wharton or another centre midfielder as well. Remember the Valentin Barco situation as well. Here we go from Fab Romano a long time ago. He's also a midfielder. I know it's not been officially confirmed yet, but all the media are saying that it still will be, and he'll still be a Chelsea player this summer. So that's another midfielder. So that's another reason why I think maybe we just sign one. Not going to give my opinion on that yet until I see it all unfold and see exactly what happens, because again, there's no point in losing my head over this situation. I also really like Alex Scott. I think he's a superb player. I think I would be really happy if we signed him, if we can get him for a good fee. Wharton, I love Wharton as well, but we've got to be realistic. If they're going to demand a similar sort of fee as what Elliot Anderson has just gone to City for, Chelsea are not paying that. It's simple as that, and we've just got to get that in our heads. But yeah, the Alex Scott news is really heating up right now, and he could really be a player that ends up in a pursuit by Chelsea. An interesting one to watch. Scott and Wharton are the 2 players who have consistently been mentioned to me by every single source for the last 3 months now. So that's why he's still there. I know some people have tried to play it down, but you know why they do that. I don't need to explain that again. So yeah, Alex Scott one to watch. Santos, not Lavia, soon to be out the door. We'll speak more on the Lavia situation and Dario Esigo as well a bit later. Both of them injured. Can we rely on them? I don't know. I hope so. I think Esigo is actually the one we can rely on more, and he's a very good player. The few times I did see him play last season, I thought he was very good, very Moises Caicedo-like, and that's a good thing because Caicedo was class. But yeah, that's the biggest transfer news today. There's not much else to update on transfers. Obviously, still trying for Maxence Lacroix. That, as I said last week, that will heat up if and when Trevor Chalobah or another centre back is sold, and Palace need to find a new defender. I think they have actually had a here we go for one yesterday. I think I vaguely remember seeing that. So maybe that, and then Chelsea selling a defender of their own will nudge that into action, but nothing new on that at the moment. Nothing new on any attackers other than what I've put on the website all last week. As always, anything I get, I will always put it out, whether it's on the website, whether it's on the Substack app in the chat section. So if you do sign up to the SPTC.news website, make sure you've got the app version of Substack as well, because that's where I put a lot of my updates on when I'm not actually on the website. So on a Saturday, a Friday and a Saturday, that's where I put all my updates on. So make sure you've got that. Next player I want to speak about is Jesse Derry. I was so impressed with him last season. I think not only has he got bags of quality, I think he's got a very strong mentality as well. He's a player who you can just see he's one of those football players who just loves being on the pitch, and he loves expressing himself. And he wasn't phased at all, was he, coming into the Chelsea team? And we can't claim him as one of our own because he came through the Palace Academy, but we signed him into our academy, and now he's already breaking through into senior football, and there's no stopping this guy. I think the move to Sporting is going to be very good for him, although that might be famous last words, because I've said that many times before about other players, and then they go on to barely play any football and it ends up being a disastrous loan. But I've got a better feeling about this one. I think Sporting will be a very good club for him to go to, and I do think it will be good for his development. And at least he's going to get, well, I say this, it depends who we sign and sell this summer, but at least he's going to get more game time at Sporting than he would in Chelsea first team next season. But Derry, I've written an article on Derry today, and I've said that it's make or break, this loan move for him. I don't mean that in a bad way, because I mean it make or break, as in whether he's going to make it at Chelsea or not, because he's going to go out on loan now, and this is going to be his platform to sell himself to Alonso, to show him what he can do and show him that he deserves to be in Chelsea's first team when he comes back next summer. And if he doesn't have a very good loan move, then he's probably just going to get sold. So yeah, Derry is a player who has really wowed me. People know I'm a big fan of Jack Grealish, and Derry gets compared to Grealish all the time, for how he operates, how he moves with the ball, and also his tall frame. But a superb player who I think has a good career ahead of him, and hopefully that will be at Chelsea. This low move will dictate that. So hopefully it's good. Yeah, good luck to Jesse Derry. I'm sure he doesn't watch the show. He might. Some players do, apparently. But good luck to Jesse Derry. And the next guy I want to speak about, announced yesterday, Giovanni Quenda, as a new Chelsea player from Sporting, actually. So we almost took one of their wingers and sent them one of ours. Who knows? Maybe that might have been one of these unofficial swap deals that I talk about all the time. Maybe in the negotiations for Quenda, maybe Chelsea already said to Sporting, we'll send you Derry at the end of the season on loan. Quite possible. It is quite possible. But yeah, he's another very interesting player, 19 years old, predominantly a right winger, but can also play as a wing back on either side of the pitch. So depending on how Alonso's going to set up, Quenda could be an important player for Alonso, purely because he can play in a few positions and he could be a good option at wing back. But I have heard that Alonso is going to take a look at him in pre-season, in training, and some games, and I think they're going to make a decision on him at that point. I believe that at the moment the plan is for him to stay in the first team into next season. But it could depend on a few things. Pedro Neto, he's got some interest coming in. He's not an untouchable player at Chelsea. They would certainly sell him if a good offer came in. So if Neto goes, Quenda's definitely going to be staying in the first team. If Neto stays, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But the plan at the moment, the initial plan, plans can change, is that Quenda will be staying in the first team under Alonso. But Alonso will be assessing him first before he makes his final decision on Quenda. But again, a very exciting player. I watched. I actually went through a couple of his games, a couple of his last games he played for Sporting, and his dribbling is incredible. I don't say that lightly either, because I'm a guy who really appreciates a player who can dribble technically well, who is a direct player, who does more than just cut inside or beats a player with pace, knock it and run. I like players who twist, turn, go inside, go outside, can go onto both feet, who have has a bit of trickery about him, and Quenda certainly does dribble like that at the moment. So he really caught my eye for his dribbling. Not the complete player, obviously still quite raw, being 19 years old, so we can't expect too much from him early doors, but he does look like an exciting prospect. And hopefully he comes to Chelsea and he's okay with the move. He's okay with coming to a new country, and he settles in well, because that is very important as well, as we've seen many times before. Old players, young players, if they don't settle in England, if they don't settle in the Premier League, the physicality of the Premier League, the pace of the Premier League, then it goes tits up for them quite soon. And yeah, their move becomes a failed move. So nobody knows how this one will go, but certainly looks like a very good player, and I hope he comes and proves his worth in a Chelsea shirt. Excited to see him play. I did say at the start of this, I'm going to speak about Alonso, so I'll go back. I was supposed to start with Alonso, but the whole recording 20-minute podcast and having to delete it really threw me off for this one, and I'm not deleting this one and starting again. So I'll end with the England-Norway preview in a minute, but before that, you would have seen the Alonso content finally coming out across the Chelsea channels this morning. As I speak, there will be more and more bits coming out, the interviews and pictures. And yeah, I said in the last podcast that I had to delete really annoyed about that. I don't know if you can guess. Um, but yeah, he's got that aura. Alonso's got that aura. I know it's a buzzword that the kids say, but he really does have that aura, and he's a player you can look at and be like, yeah, that guy knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's cool. But he's not here to look cool. He's here to coach. He's here to manage, and he's got a very, very tough task on his hand. We will see how the summer transfer window ends up for him. I truly hope that he is fully backed. You know, they've already failed with giving him Granit Xhaka, who he asked for. Went in with a stupidly low offer, which pissed his club off straight away, and that was that basically. So yeah, they've already failed him in my opinion in that one. I know people are saying, "Oh, you're not going to pay 30 million for 34-year-old, blah blah blah." Yeah, okay, don't pay 30 million for him, but at least go in with a sensible offer that's not going to make Sunderland say piss off and slam the door in your face, right? Yeah, sorry, I digressed again there. But yeah, Alonso content out now. It's really great to see him. We will be seeing the interview, I'm sure, very soon. Really annoyed that Chelsea have decided to put this content behind a paywall. As Chelsea fans, we spend a lot of money on the club already, buying merchandise and tickets and stuff. Although it's quite a low cost and it's just a one-off cost for the year, it's still another cost. You know, you've got your membership and supporters trust or whatever you do and you pay for. It's just another more money to pay on top of that. It costs me, like, if I go and watch Chelsea and I stay in a hotel, which I do have to if it's a late game, it costs me 250 quid, around about that in total with the train as well. So it's just in my example, it's just another fee that I've got to pay, and you know, it's not a big fee, I know, and it's a one-off fee, but I just don't think there's a need for it, and it's just another thing that fans have become pissed off about and dislike the owners for, and they don't need any more reasons to do that, do they? Right now, let's be honest. But yeah, I'm not going to rant about that now. It might be for another time. Maybe when I haven't got much transfer content to talk about, I'll come back to that. But it's a little thing, but a big thing at the same time, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, guys, those of you who are here for the Chelsea content only, bye-bye. I'm going to speak about England now. Thanks for joining us, though. I really do appreciate that. And the rest of you who are still here, thank you for staying. A quick chat about the England-Norway game. I'm not going to go into a massive preview and speak about any tactics and this, that, and the other, because these World Cup games can go either way, and we've seen that, haven't we, in a lot of the last round of games. It's been so entertaining, so exciting, this World Cup. I think it's going to be up there with amongst the best World Cups of all time. It really will. And the most encouraging thing about it for me is that I'm watching games that remind me of classic games. When I say classic games, you know, I don't mean 70s, although, you know, people who are around that time can tell you that they were also classic games. Me, I was born in mid-80s, so I'm talking 90s, early 2000s, even late 2000s, when football was football and it was about attacking and scoring goals and trying to be direct and playing direct and moving the ball fast. And that's what this World Cup has been like. You know, we have seen the odd team park a bus and sit and defend. England did it to win their last game. They had to. They were down to 10 men. So I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, and it does happen still. But most of the games, we're seeing teams go for each other and just try and get a win because it's a knockout competition. To me, that's really refreshing to see in this modern day of football. Teams are just a lot more urgent, and it's been really, really enjoyable to watch. I think we're going to see another similar game from England and Norway this weekend. Norway, obviously, they've been very good, haven't they, this World Cup? They're a very good team. And to be honest, they're a team that I really like. So it's going to be hard to knock you guys out. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But if Norway end up beating England, then I think Norway are going to be the team that I'm going to be supporting. I know you shouldn't do that, but I really like their team. I like their players, but I love their attitude and their passion. they're the Vikings, aren't they? You know, they've got the Viking spirit, and I just love the whole like rowing thing at the end, celebrating the wins, and they just all seem really together and playing together, playing for each other, playing for the fans, and they're just loving being at this World Cup, aren't they? And they play good football as well. They play very good football. So it's going to be a very tough game for England and Thomas Tuchel. It will be their toughest game yet, and I just hope for England that we turn up with the same passion and spirit and mentality that we turned up in our last game, because that is what you need to win these games. It's basically that, you know, you can have all the quality in the world. If you don't have that determination and that work rate and the teamwork as well, the team bonding and team spirit, if you don't have that, then it's going to be very hard to win games at this level in the World Cup. And England had that in their last game, but until then, I hadn't really seen it that much. So, yeah, I mean, give me Dan Burn on in the 80th minute and parking the bus, 1-0 win against Norway. I'll definitely take that. It's going to be a very close game, and it depends what England turn up. You know, I've spoken before about Tuchel's choices and his talent ID not being good enough, so I'm not going to go over that again. But his subs were great in the last game, by the way, and what Tuchel is good at doing is giving those motivational talks and really geeing his players up in the breaks and the halftime. And we needed that again in the last game, and Tuchel showed his strengths with that and motivating from the sidelines. You know, I think he's so good at doing that. He's very old school in that sense. You can see him, you know, really having a go at players, and I love it. I love that. You know, I think players are mollycoddled a lot in today's football. I think sometimes you need that now, and you're out there playing for England in the World Cup. You know, suck it up and deal with it. You're not going to get another opportunity. Most of them, some of them. So, you know, go out there and do everything you can. Make the most of this opportunity. All of us would die to be there, wouldn't we, right? Even just watching the games, I'd love to be there, let alone playing in them. Yeah, at least this one's a 10 p.m. kickoff, so I could probably stay awake for it. And it's on a Saturday night, so, you know, I might even have a slightly later night and a couple of beers. I have arranged to watch the game with some of the lads and my dad and the family, a couple of his friends. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And anyone else watching the game, I hope it's a good one. Any of you that are there, wow, lucky guys, lucky people. So yeah, guys, that about rounds things up for today. Pretty good length for a show, I reckon. Just under half an hour for a solo show. And thank you to my fan for keeping me cool today. And he didn't say much though, did he? He didn't really chip in with anything worthwhile, but maybe next time. It's better looking than Jay though, right? All right, guys, on that note, I'm out. Peace.